Well, you know, we're excited here today to be able to come and bring you some dirt track history from the South. The South has been memorialized in so many stories since I've moved here, from the bull rings and wrestling and rolling and fighting in the dirt at the bull rings to asphalt tracks from here to Florida, and the Ice Bowl and all the other races that a lot of these gentlemen have been around and even seen the inception of these racetracks. Some come, some go. These guys have seen it all. And we're here to pay tribute to one of the historians that recently passed, Ronald Dearman, and his brother Dan Dearman sitting here next to me. And we have Ray Cato sitting here. Mr. Cato is from Vicksburg. And then Tobby Taylor, he's the Mississippi chicken history historian from Mississippi, from Morton, Mississippi. Then we have the Parker family. We have JD, Jimmy, and Ernie sitting over here. They own the Hattiesburg racetrack, and so they're here to keep me straight, keep me honest. And then we also have a historian sitting over here in the corner that is basically making sure that he's counting votes, since the election is going on right now, and going to keep everything straight. So there's not going to be any BS going on, and I guarantee that's probably not true. But we're going to do a little tribute to Ronald Dearman. I had the fortune to meet the gentleman in his latter part of his life, and he was really a big racing fan. And he's kind of the one that kind of got me excited about these old stories and the ability to bring some of these guys together. And so Dan worked hard to get these guys here today, and we're going to have a little fun and talk about Ronald's deal that we're going to hear to display at the vault here at Jackson, Mississippi. So Dan, why don't you tell us a little bit about how Ronald got started doing this?
Well, Ronald, his passion came from the six-pack. He had a little car called a six-pack, and then Mr. Ray, after Ronald sold it, drove that car. And he was sitting at my sister's house, and I told him about Mr. Tobby's MissChicken.com. And he got on the thing, and he printed every picture that night of all the pictures that was on there, and he started building the six-pack, and then it's right there. So after he did the six-pack, it just went crazy, and he ended up probably building 80 or more cars, and he probably spent more than 40 or 50 cars he sold.
Yes.
So he had a passion, and he had a memory, if y'all remember. He could tell you drivers and stuff and colors of cars and stuff. Most of the cars that you see there are black and white, and he had it from memory what the cars look like. So he was incredible on that. Each one of those cars probably takes anywhere from 40 to 60 hours to build. That most of them are hand built. They're not a kit car. They're really, every one of them are specially built, and looks just like the cars they did when they were running.
Because obviously somebody had to build the track for the cars.
I built it and for him, and I wouldn't build another one for $50,000. But I built everything I did was for him. He's been where he never could go around or get around too much, so we carried a lot of places and shows, and I did it out of love for him and helping him.
Well, it's really neat, and we're proud to have it on display here at the vault, and we're glad that it's here. And you know, I've raced a little bit myself, but I come from a rodeo background, so I don't really have the knowledge and depth of the Mississippi tracks that I get the stories from, but I am in the collector car business, and so I like to take and tell the story. There's nothing worth anything if it doesn't have a story to it. It's just another item, whatever it may be. And so these cars, every one of these represents a livelihood. It represents somebody's story, and it Every one of those cars touched somebody's life, and I'd hate to see how many people, millions of people down the chain, if you could add it up, that have a story to tell about what's on this table here. I mean, it's just crazy what the efforts have been here, so I'd welcome people to come by and look at it. Ray Cato's sitting here next to me from Vicksburg, and that's halfway between here and between where a lot of this stuff took place. I'm sure you got a story or two to tell us about a car on this table.
We don't have enough time. We just absolutely. This story goes so far. And a lot of these cars that are represented on this table, when I was back in that day and time.
And this is in the 50s and 60s, correct?
Late 50s and early 60s. Most of these cars you see on this table over here that were the jalopy type class cars, when you was lining up to get ready for the race, you could actually stand up on the ground. There wasn't a floorboard.
Really?
A lot of cars didn't have floorboards. They didn't have floorboards. And we was the stupidest people in the world to get into those cars, because the roll bars, most of them was made out of water pipe. They had screwed together T's. It was bolted to the frame. The seat you had to sit in there wasn't nothing more than a 5-gallon bucket. You had to tie yourself into it. I've seen a lot of guys killed over my years in them cars. But where it started, where it's at now, takes a long time to tell.